How's it going, David from Comic Book Investments? So in this video, we're going to look at 5 keys that are dropping in price. You know the drill. But before I get into it, just to let you guys know, we are running our auction. This is our 5th auction. Yes, our 5th auction. So head over to collectorscomics.com. Tons of good stuff up there. We got like a Daredevil 1, we got Hulk 181, X-Men 1, Journey Mystery 83. We got tons of stuff. I think we have about a little over 1,000 graded comic books. So go over, check it out. Once again, collectorscomics.com. Just started. Runs for 2 weeks. So I think it ends whatever 2 weeks is from today. I think like 14th. I don't even know. All right. First up, we got Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic #9. First appearance of Darth Revan. 9.4 is down 64% from 650 to 235. A 9.6 down 76% from 1100 to 259. Ouch. A 9.8 is down 72% from 2500 to 689. As you can see in the graphic, just pretty much right before the comic boom, there was like the nostalgia boom. And it was basically Star Wars, Turtles, I think some like G.I. Joe stuff was in there. More like that kind of stuff. Transformers. And then everything else started going up. But the nostalgia boom was like late in December in like 2020. And then, so this obviously went up then. I remember this during this time. And Star Wars books were just flying off the shelf. But they've quickly come back down to earth. A lot of this also had to do with a ton of speculation on... At that time, they were throwing out, we're going to do it because The Mandalorian was such a huge hit. They're like, we're going to do a show on this, and this person's going to get, and this person's going to get their own series, and this person's going to show up in the series, and then we're going to do a movie on this, and blah, blah. There's like a million different, like, Star Wars, everything was, like, going to happen, and none of it ended up happening. Like, all the series got canceled or never materialized. They had another trilogy of movies. That never happened. Now Kathleen Kennedy, who is the overseer of all that, is on her way out. I think the last project she's going to see all the way through is Indiana Jones, 6 or 5 or something like that, with Harrison Ford coming back. That will be the last project. After that, she's off to greener pastures or wherever she's doing. But in my personal opinion, good riddance. Don't get me started on the Disney Star Wars trilogy. I hate it. I hope that they do kind of like a retcon, like in Super Mario Bros. 2, and this say it was all a dream. Super Mario Bros. 2, the Nintendo game. At the end of it, Mario's dreamt the whole thing, which was actually a stolen game from Doku Doku something. I don't know. It was a completely different game in Japanese, and because they made the original Mario 2 video game in Japan, but they thought it'd be too hard for us Americans over here. We're too simple-minded. So they're like, okay, we got to do something different, which ended up called The Lost Levels. I'm going on a tangent. Anyways, yes, so they took a game called Doku Doku Panic, I think it was called, and they just reskinned it with Mario characters. Next, we got ROM #1. A 9.4 is down 56% from 169 to 75. A 9.6 is down 68% from $200 to $64, and a 9.8 is down 67% from $695 to $226. So the only thing I really know about ROM is it's funny. It's funny how because I've been around comics my entire life, so seeing a certain book like brings back different memories. It's kind of crazy how that works. And the only thing I really know about ROM is originally, so during this time, they started figuring out like, hey, we can start, because I think this came out after Star Wars, and they saw what George Lucas did. George Lucas came out with a comic book first, and all the toys and stuff were kind of designed. Then the movie came out, and then the movie was huge, and then everything else got huge. So they were approached by someone, okay, we're going to come out with a toy line, and we want to hype it up first. And I think they wanted to do a cartoon. They used to do that all the time. So I think they wanted to do a toy line and a cartoon, but they wanted to get the hype going, so they came out with ROM. They came out with a bunch like during this time. I think Star Oros, whatever it is, there's Star Warriors, whatever it's called. A bunch of things like that came out during this time, and ROM was one of them. I don't think it ever went anywhere as far as a toy or whatever, but it continued on as a comic book for a while till issue about 75, I believe. I think ROM is actually on IDW now, if I'm not mistaken, because I don't think Marvel actually ever owned the rights to ROM. I think so. I want to say IDW or Boom Studios now has the rights to ROM. In any case, this just reminds me of this guy that lived with us, and his dad was friends with my dad, and he was like 18, 19, just out of high school, and he was going to go work for my dad doing comics because he loved comic books, and he was supposed to save up money for a year and then go to college with that money. He ends up working for us for like a year and a half, living at the house rent-free, all this kind of stuff. And I just remember he would always watch Star Trek, eat top ramen and frozen pizzas, and drink Dr. Pepper, but he'd save all his cans. So in his room was just mountains of Dr. Pepper cans. And he read ROM. That's the only thing I know about ROM, is that right there was one of his favorite comic books that he read. Needless to say, at the end of the year and a half, he was broke because he spent all of his money on comic books. So I don't know what happened to him. But next, Defenders number 17. A 9.0 is down 68% from 450 to 143. A 9.2 is down 60% from 500 to 200. And a 9.4 is down 56% from 750 last year, now selling for 330. You can see that graph go instantly way back down. This is the first appearance of the Wrecking Crew. And as you guys know, this got hyped up because the Wrecking Crew is going to appear in something. What was that something? Oh, it turns out to be the She-Hulk TV show. Well, for all those people who are wondering whatever happened to that, they were like some little tiny little gang. I don't know. They had Asgardian like tools. It was weird, and they were kind of just dumb. I mean, that show was just dumb in general. It's going to be forgotten. Most people will forget about it down the line. I personally didn't like it. The show was just, I don't know. It wasn't funny. That was the problem. It was trying to be funny, but like I never laughed really. Anyways, the Wrecking Crew turned out to be this bunch of Looney Tune cartoon characters, and I think they were in it all of a couple minutes. About it. Nonetheless, yeah. So you can see what happens with hype. Hey, get this book because I don't know. This character or characters are going to be in some TV show or movie in the next big thing. Oh, I got to get it. Okay, I'm going to pay 5 times price what it went for like 6 months ago. And then all of a sudden, oh, what do you know? The character didn't work out how I hoped, because you're really taking a shot in the dark with some of these characters, especially with like the Wrecking Crew. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think all of a sudden they're going to get their own spin-off? All right, next we got New Gods number 1, a 9.2. Down 47% from 500 to 264. A 9.4 is down 49% from 607 to 312. And a 9.6 is down 58% from 1050 to 440. So most of this was, you got obviously, if you look at the graph, you kind of see it going along, and then it gets this little bump up. And then it gets to the comic boom bump, and then it's been going down since. Well, that first bump, what it was, what's her name? Mary Dread. Angelina Jolie, right? I think that was her name. The one who was in the Eternals movie. She was going to direct a New Gods movie. Ended up being in the Eternals. Kind of similar, I guess, in a way. But yeah. And the movie never went anywhere. It was just that's the thing. It's like most of these movies, they're like, oh, so-and-so got optioned for a movie. Oh, gotta go get that. And I'll look at I think it's called Key Collector or something like that. Up 1,000% from last week. And I'm like, first of all, most of these things never materialize. They never get made into anything. And then they'll get so hyped up. But I'm like, even if it did turn into something, you're like 5 years away before you actually see it on screen. 4 or 5 years. It takes a long time to make these movies and a lot of moving parts. It's never like, oh, we signed this character or actor or whatever, got this comic book to be a TV show, and then next year it's out. It doesn't happen like that. especially the way news works, that everyone knows everything pretty much almost instantly as soon as it's, you know, released. I mean, look at the Marvel stuff. We know stuff that's coming out 5 years from now, 4 years from now. Nonetheless, overall, I still think this is, you know, a decent book. Where is it now? Like, I'm looking at the graph, kind of seeing where it is. It's back to its like 2016 numbers. So honestly, I don't think it's going to really be dropping much more, just in my opinion, because yeah. All right, now last on the list we got Fantastic Four 67. This is the first appearance of him, which later turns into Adam Warlock. He's in a cocoon like a butterfly. 6.5 is down 56% from 650 to 285. An 8.0 is down 62% from 1427 to 549. A 9.0 is down 47% from 1875 to 1000. I remember someone commented, it's like, I like it when you say it really fast where I can't hear anything and understand what you're saying. So yeah, some of these books on here, I just got to let you know, is from commenters, people like you who want me to check out a book. So just type in the comments. If I get to it, I get to it. I can't get to everything, and I can't promise that I'll read everything. I get a lot of comments, but I try my best. And a lot of times I'll go through and I'll read some of the comments, and someone's like, hey, can you do this book? And I'm like, sure. A lot of times people will put books that I did like maybe 2-3 weeks or a couple months ago. So I won't do those. Just watch every single episode I do of this. Come on. I'm just joking. You don't have to watch every episode. Nonetheless, about this book, first appearance of him turns into Adam Warlock. They casted him, Will Poulter, I think the actor's name is. He looks familiar. I can't remember off the top of my head what he's been in, but looks like he got really buff for this movie. I think they're positioning Adam Warlock to be kind of like a big character in the MCU. Just my personal opinion. I know they want to go more cosmic, so expect some, you know, Silver Surfer show up. I'm always talking about Silver Surfer. He's going to happen. Silver Surfer, Ghost Rider, stuff like that. So this, I think, I mean, obviously went up. It's been going up for a while because, what was it, Guardians 2, they released, like, they talked about it at the end credit scene or something like that. And that was, I don't know, like a million years ago, it feels like. So I expect, because Guardians is done after this movie. So you're losing, what, like 5-6 characters, however many there are, off the Marvel slate. So you're going to have to replace them somehow. Thor, Chris Hemsworth is eventually going to be done pretty soon. He says he's pretty much done anyways. So you're losing a lot of characters, and they're trying to find new ones that stick. They won't, like, I mean, even Paul Rudd, he's getting to the end. I don't imagine him going too much longer. So they're really trying to push for someone new. Will that be Adam Warlock? I just don't see Adam Warlock as like a head guy, but I think he'll be in it. So I don't know. I think this book has good potential. I think it's still pretty low, honestly, in my opinion. But yeah, have a good weekend.